Hey, good afternoon there. Welcome to Caribou Weather Dude YouTube channel. I'm Joey, only sitting here, not in Wells, BC today, still in Ontario for the next 10 days or something to that effect. Here to talk to you about weekend weather stories that we have going on. Of course, the big one in British Columbia, Washington, Oregon. We're going to talk about that one first. Then we'll get through to our snowfall expectations, rainfall expectations through the weekend. Here in Ontario, we're looking at some pretty stormy weather coming at us as well. And then, cold, cold, cold across the continent. That's a big story going on too. We'll try to cover as much as we can here in the short time we got. Thanks, friends. Let's go. There it is.
This is bad news.
My God.
Falling out right now. Anything could happen.
Get on! Wow.
I'll watch the video later. They dry mopping this.
Okay, let's just run through our weather models a little bit here and have a look. You can see a weak sort of disturbance moving through the Great Lakes. That's coming on down, this little trough here. It's really getting pushed by the cold Arctic air behind. You can see the tight isobars that'll delineate definitely temperature changes and probably wind along that front. You can see how basically our snowfall that's in Caribou, Chilcotin, and whatnot, up along the coast, that's mostly coming to us because it's hitting into that. It's trying to move north, but it's hitting into that cold weather, that different pressure system, and it just can't go much further. And it's really spilling its guts, and if not, it's traversing itself down along the gradient of the isobar, more or less down into the Montana, for example, right now. And that's where this one's going to go. You can see our last storm moving out. It went right across the country like so, kind of like that, and is out of here. What a crazy amount of snow we had in Ontario. So here's this low trying to form itself there. You're going to see Chinook conditions coming to Alberta after this snowfall. So here's the snowfall going on. Snowing good for you down there. A little bit in southern Saskatchewan. Great Lakes now taking some snow into Saturday. Coast taking heavy rainfall in BC. Into British Columbia. Snowfall, snowfall, snowfall. You can see the streak of cold weather reaching on down. It's going to get very cold in the U.S. side of the Great Lakes. Very extremely cold, and maybe minus 20 or something like that for Chicago. You got this snowfall band that's following along the edge of that gradient. You can see here's the warmth is right there, the cold is right there, and that's where that snowfall wants to happen, and that's basically all on the line. You can see Alberta's coming into Chinook now. Conditions there as we come through later in the weekend. Heavy rain into BC. Now it's Sunday. Cold Arctic air spilling all the way down into the Great Lakes, making for dangerous conditions for people who aren't quite used to it. Heavy lake effect snow, say through Ohio, Michigan, into New York State, Pennsylvania, heavy snow. Some of that is moving its way right towards the coast. I don't know. It's hard for me on this map to guess exactly where Washington is in Baltimore, New York, but somewhere in that eastern seaboard of the U.S. is going to be getting some really heavy snow. It's going to be a big story, but there's lots of American forecasters that can tell you all about that. And you can see, again, water splash and heavy against BC coast, moving on down to Washington. That's not what we want to see right there. That's not what we want to see coming into Monday and late Sunday coming into Monday. That's not what we want to see. Very warm in the southern part of the prairies briefly, and then Monday, major slammage in Monday, slammage into British Columbia. So that's what we look like over the weekend here, just on this one model run. This is a GDPS run, I believe. Yes. RDPS. Situation still pretty critical in the Fraser Valley because of the overflow that's coming from the Nooksack River in Washington State. It's topping its banks and spilling into the old plain that was once a lake that was into British Columbia. So some river levels have begun to recede from their peaks. That's some good news, but we do have more weather coming, so that's some bad news. Okay, what about the Sumas River? There is a flood warning in effect there, but most other statements from the BC River Forecast Center seem to have been dropped, so it's really just that Abbotsford area. We'll get details specific here in a minute that is having that problem. So the Sumas Prairie is expected to peak today, or was expected to. It should not be as severe as the November 2021 event. Luckily, we know that the lack of snow in the mountains sure helped us on this one. But with more weather coming, we're not completely out of this yet because the ground is saturated. That's the thing, right? So if we take some really heavy rain in the week ahead still through BC and Washington, we could still see this. We could see this problem worsen or at least continue for a longer period of time. Chilliwack, Skagit, and Coquihalla rivers, they had flood warnings in place with the BC River Forecast Center, so they're monitoring the conditions there. This atmospheric river dropped Hope had 140 millimeters. Chilliwack had 110 mils of rain, and maybe more there. So it's been a big deal. There's 371 properties in the Sumas Prairie West and 82 in Huntington Village that are active evacuation orders. There's an additional 1,069 properties across Sumas Prairie East and West that are under evacuation alerts. So be ready to go if you've had that alert. You don't have to yet, but you might want to just to head it off and leave on your terms. Farms are affected. The Ministry of Agriculture confirms that 66 farms with livestock are under evacuation order, with another 99 under alert. So that's terrible news. I don't know any story what's happened with the livestock, so we won't get into that. Local states of emergency have been declared around Abbotsford and parts of the Fraser Valley Regional District. There is some highway closure still. Highway 1 is closed in both directions between exit 92 at Sumas Road and 104, which is a stretch of approximately 12 kilometers. We're going to mention here now is Highway 1 having that closure from Hope because of the Bridal Falls situation, and Highway 3 also closed as well. High water levels have prompted evacuation orders. That's updated 4 hours ago. And then we do have a highway closure in Revelstoke right now, I believe. Closure between Highway 23 North and Golden Donald Road for 148 kilometers because of a vehicle incident. The road is closed. Watch for traffic control. That was 3 hours ago. It was updated. Still waiting for an update on that. So if you're trying to travel through Highway 1, you're also going to find that there's been a major incident there on the other side of between Field and the Visitor Access Center at the Alberta Road. So vehicle incident, single lane alternating traffic, expect delays there. That is a major route. Other critical links between the Lower Mainland, which were highways 3, 5, 7, and 99, have had closures, rock falls, and mudslides. But for the most part now, the roads are mostly open except for this one stretch in BC, right? We did have some slides. I know that we've seen Bridal Falls was quite a mess yesterday in that stretch of road along Chilliwack. Roads are getting open, but we still have the flood situation in BC that hopefully will come down some, but we do have that worry it may come back up. Washington's experienced historic flooding, by the way. There was 100,000 people evacuated. I had to check several times to make sure that was right yesterday because it just seemed mind-blowing to me, 100,000 people having to evacuate. That's crazy. Several rivers have broken all-time records, and there's been a statewide emergency actually declared by Governor Bob Ferguson. So we got some data on that too. The Skagit River at Mount Vernon, it had a flood stage at 28 feet. That's its flood stage. So if it's past 28 feet, it's at flood stage. Well, its peak that it was observed was 37.7 feet overnight Thursday into Friday last night. That's about 10 feet above its official flood stage. The latest observation at 4:15 p.m. Pacific time on December 11th was 35.77 feet, indicating that the water was slowly receding. Flow rate, most recent instantaneous value is 115,000 cubic feet per second. It's crazy. The all-time record was 37.4 feet from November 11th, 1906 and November 16th, 2021. So they actually beat their all-time record. What about the Skagit River? That's another big one. This is near the community of Concrete, funny name for community. Its flood stage is also about 20 feet. Its action stage is 24.5 feet. So when you get to 24.5 feet, it's time to sound the alarms and get ready, right? The latest observed value on at December 11th was 40.69 feet. That's the last. The all-time record is 42.21 feet. So they didn't actually break their record. Snohomish River surged a foot higher than its previous record. So 100,000 people statewide are under evacuation orders. The entire city of Burlington, population of 9,000, was ordered to evacuate along with Mount Vernon, which has about 35,000 people. Now, our big-time battle board story here is, of course, extreme cold through the north. This is almost certainly all of it for extreme cold. Minus 45 to minus 60 wind chill warnings for Cassiar Mountains, Fort Nelson. Oh my God, minus 50 to minus 60. That's for Teslin, Dawson, Faro, Whitehorse, Kluane Lake, and Haines Junction. Some of these values are ridiculous. 45 to 60 wind chill expected for Cassiar, Watson, Fort Nelson. Figure that out. It could see that happen for you. We do have blowing snow up north. We do have a big blizzard that's going on as well up by the Arctic Ocean. Orange warning for blizzard. 80-kilometer-an-hour wind possible. This may be a major storm, they say. It may be. They're not exactly even sure. Meanwhile, for Houston, Smithers, Hazelton, parts of Highway 16, we do have 10 to 15 centimeters of snow expected for you. That will come to the region on Saturday. 5 to 10 centimeters over southern areas like Burns Lake and Francois Lake, Smithers and Hazelton. Right up to the coast here, we got the snowfall warning for you. For Terrace, parts of Highway 37, Highway 16 tonight into Saturday morning. A frontal system will approach the coast tonight and Saturday with the risk of freezing rain as well in there for you. Just a little bit farther south is the winter storm warning. Kitimat and northwards along Highway 37 tonight to Saturday evening with 30 to 40 centimeters expected. And approaching system is going to give you big time nastiness. Right out to the coast there, areas of light freezing rain expected Saturday morning along mainland portions of the coast. That's pretty bad. We'll go on down towards Bella Coola. Snowfall there, 20 sections along the central coast as well today. What about the Chilcotin? Just a little bit south of there. We're looking for the Chilcotin at 10 to 15 centimeters for Punxsy, Anaheim, Tatlioco, parts of Highway 20, including Heckman Summit. So look out if you're going on Heckman Summit. Not going to be a good idea. That's now into the evening. That's probably already going on. Caribou, meanwhile, you got the snowfall warning as well. That's going on today. Until the evening, 10 centimeters expected there. I'm sure a lot of you know about that. Snowfall up on the Revelstoke, still possible as well. Yellow warning for snowfall there, 15 centimeters. That's been going on. We do have the special weather statement we reported yesterday, this weekend and this week, where more rainfall is in store over the coming days for the already saturated Fraser Valley. Relatively weak funnel system that's come through is pushing into lower mainland. Did bring some light rain. Although the precipitation expected wasn't going to intensify into the evening, rainfall totals are predicted to be in relatively light amounts. It's just that we already have enough water, So even if 20 to 40 millimeters are possible around Hope, that's obviously going to trigger some more slides. However, another system will move into the area Saturday night, followed by a potentially significant push of moisture Monday and early into next week. We are looking at some really serious major weather. All across Alberta is basically cold, extreme cold, extreme cold. What about down there even in the South Peace? Wind chill values of minus 40 for BC Peace River. Have fun with that. 45 wind chill values in northern Saskatchewan, central Saskatchewan. Also cold, very cold, up to minus 40 down there. What about southern Manitoba? Justin Ordle was getting those nice sundog photos today at the Weather Center in Manitoba. Make sure you go down and check him out on the Facebook. Cypress Hills looking at 10 to 15 to 20 centimeters or more like that, 10 to 20 centimeters, something like that in the Saskatchewan border. A little bit of snow. We do have our first snowfall warning now in Ontario. It's a snow squall warning for areas around Sault Ste. Marie, north to the north of it, basically along Highway, Trans-Canada Highway over Lake Superior. Snow squalls 20 to 35 centimeters, even closer to the Sioux, right? And then we have a bunch of watches in effect already for snow squalls. In this orange watch, that's not good. Forecast confidence is high for 20 to 40 centimeters with locally higher amounts in the Georgian Bay on Saturday. Lake effect snow, cold air coming across this warm water. It's not frozen up yet. It was such a warm summer that the water is warmer than average. It's going to take longer to freeze. It means you're going to have more snow squalls, just like last year too. So we got snow squall watches there in the Georgian Bay, 20 to 40 centimeters. And then we have our last storm finally moving out of Rivière-du-Loup. That's been going on. This is the tail end of BC's Monday storm. Basically, the only thing that's going to stop the parade train in the Pacific is some colder temperatures come, some high pressure, knock that down. It's been a real battle between the cold that's inland, and the continental cold that's been breaking out from the Arctic, and the heat from the south and from the ocean. That's basically the story in a nutshell, in a different way of explaining it. This is the first time we've seen, though, this. In the next 28 days, the only parts of Canada expected to be below average will be northern Saskatchewan, northern BC, out to the Pacific there, where that... Now, this is a sign of more storms and low pressure, though. To me, this seems like a setup that's still going to keep bringing heavy precipitation into southern BC if that happens, right? Well, where's the warm going? That's probably where the precip's going to be landing. That's where the storm, because this cold air can't hold moisture. It's too friggin' cold. Moisture will bump up against it and make a distance into it and then fall. But no, it can't be transported by this kind of cold. It's the warm air that transports the moisture. So that's why, like, I'm concerned still that we're into a pattern here that's not great. We could have a bit of an Arctic outbreak squeeze into BC after this next round of storms that happen all next week. And that would drop our temperatures right down for Christmas. But I'm still skeptical because every time, like, we look out, we say, well, we got only 2 or 3 more storms to go before that happens. And then, the table just gets reset and more Pacific weather hammers on in. Anyways, here's the good news is that we only have 1 flood warning left in BC. I mean, they can come back though, friends. Like I say, we got a lot of tumultuous weather ahead. Let's have a look at that tumultuous weather. But it's good news, in the long run. We're getting out of this last event, and we weren't the hardest hit. We just kind of had a spillover from down south. And, hey, Don, keep your rainfall and your flood waters on your side of the border. If you don't want our smoke, we don't want your floods. Meanwhile, Avalanche Canada, because we've taken a lot more snow into this weekend, they're warning you that there's going to be a lot of places where you see changing conditions, where conditions will be considerable or worse. So just keep that in mind. You're up, considerable. You're like, well, it's just considerable. But still, considerable is considerable. Okay, so it's orange. Orange alert. Okay, not yellow, not green. Orange alert for most of these mountains this weekend. If you have plans to go riding, snowmobiling, orange alert. For a lot of you, if you're down in the very far south, well, you're the ones that are probably exempt, but you probably don't have any snow to play with. Here's a run on the temperature through the weekend. Watch that cold Arctic air spilling in the United States. Going to be a major story, major winter outbreak, even coming down to them again. It'll warm up in BC there through Saturday as that next storm pounds on in. You'll take that warm sector. Boom. Look at it. Actually quite warm. I know Portland had 11 Celsius yesterday or something like that. We got very warm temperatures moving into Washington. Look at the United States. Look at how hot it is down there, man. There's lots of very, very high temperatures. And this is all in Fahrenheit on this map. So, just, correct your mind for a second and realize that, where it says minus 12 and 23 on the Canadian side there into Saskatchewan, no, that's not exactly what's happened. This is a major cold outbreak. Winnipeg's going to be very cold. Looks like Brandon, Manitoba's taking her hard there. Look, there's that nice warm up for Alberta coming at you later in the weekend. The Chinook weather's coming for you. Looks pretty nice there, and that cold weather spilling very chilly there in North Bay, Sudbury, whatnot. Very chilly. That's trying to spill further south, but doesn't quite. But look at that. Freezing temperatures coming right down to the edge of Georgia. Region on out, trying to get all the way to Florida. Don't think it'll make it there. And you see that big difference in temperature, well above freezing on one side of the line and extreme. And that's why that gradient's so tight. And I imagine you're going to be seeing quite a bit of wind along that line as well. That's where our jet stream is mostly going, and it's just dipping right on down. It's a very out of control jet stream, very warped looking jet stream. Yeah, heavy snowfall going on through today up into central BC, up along the Rocky Mountains, Columbia's, things like that. Good band of snow spilling there through Alberta tonight. Looking like that's hitting just that one corner of Saskatchewan, mostly as it slides down that gradient between the extreme cold and the high pressure. You can see big time rainfall slamming tonight through the north coast. That's where there's that warning that's going on there. Northern tip of Vancouver Island might take a little bit of that. Heavy snowfall this night. I wouldn't plan to go anywhere over the passes. I wouldn't. Basically, if you have travel plans in BC, stop it. Don't have any travel plans unless you plan to just go to an airport and fly somewhere. Look at that hose of moisture slamming up into BC coast tonight. Windy up there. Heavy rain, heavy wind, heavy snow in the mountains for you. Finally clearing out into Saturday morning for a little bit into the interior there. Prince George, Williams Lake finally getting a little bit of a break on Saturday afternoon. Most of that's going to push into the north. You're going to see snowfall into the Peace. That might beat your temperature, the right side a little bit. You might like that. Heavy rainfall on the north coast, heavy rainfall Vancouver Island. And now we're going to watch this slide its way, the precipitation is going to work its way down into southern BC. They got a couple days break, and that's good news, a little bit of break. But then I'm concerned about what's coming after that for them, which is really don't do it. Well, look at Look at that's exactly the opposite of what we want. Those big yellows, the reds, anywhere in that area. We don't want that heavy rate of precip anywhere in that area. So this is concerning. This is a concerning situation still ahead into that's only Sunday, right? That's only Sunday. We haven't even got to the Monday storm yet. We're gonna have to switch them over to the ECMWF because it goes a little bit further out, and then we can a little less resolution. As you can see, Sunday moving on down, heavy rain along the coast, heavy snow, not much of a break for the interior because here it comes again. Nasty weather pounding on in, and there you go. That heavy rain, that heavy precip right there through the North Shore. 22 millimeters in a 3-hour time. That's not good. In the headwaters of the Nooksack and areas like that, you're going to see heavy rainfall moving on through. Heavy rainfall into Monday. Like this is concerning, folks. Like I got to tell you the truth. I'm going to tell you the truth. That big low pushes on out. Do we get more next week? Well, looking like it. The flow is still coming at us to have more sort of served up. So the thinking, I think, prevailing thinking was that we're going to have steady lows. Here's another one. Bam! It just takes off like crazy. The jet stream is just moving so fast right now. It's already, within a day or two, made its way across from BC to the Great Lakes right next week Thursday. So again, just looking kind of a bit further out for you. But there you go. Atmospheric river again next Thursday. It's sure starting to shape up like it into that same region where we had the flooding. It's not good. It's not good. It's not good. I don't know how else to frame it. And then we have the risk after that of having that cold come on down. That seemed to be what some models say, and that would still be the prevailing wisdom if you look at the temperature mark there coming into high pressure developing in BC next week. So, I mean, that's a long ways out, the 23rd. I don't know if we're going to see that happen in BC, but if it would, that would shut the valve off and buy us time for the flooding situation. I think that's what we ultimately want. Anyways, I'm going to leave you now with just to look at the heavy precip in Ontario. Hit like, share, subscribe if you enjoyed my forecast. Finally get to look at what's coming for me here where I am. A little bit of snowfall tonight for us here in central Ontario. Looks like, though, the further west you are, the worse it's going to be. That's basically the story for Ontario for the next little while. Hit like, share, subscribe. Leave a super donation if you want to keep me going. Maybe even consider becoming a channel member or joining us on Patreon. I'd appreciate that very much. All right, stay safe this weekend, everybody. We'll talk to you soon. We'll have an update for you tomorrow, I hope. Bye now.